Hello, everybody. My name is Justin Villery. I'm with the Committee of 70. We are coming to you live on Facebook today as part of our Philadelphia students take over Studio C70 before the November election. We have students from Samuel Fels High School interviewing Representative Isabella Fitzgerald from the 203rd District today. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bernardini, who is going to lead students in questioning and having a dialogue with state representatives. So thank you very much, all of you, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for setting this up. This is a wonderful opportunity for the students and for the Philadelphia public at large to be able to get some more insight into candidates who are running for office in the state and beyond. Representative Fitzgerald, thank you so much for joining us today on behalf of the whole Fels community and our advanced placement government and politics class in particular. We'd like to say thank you, and we're very much looking forward to the questions and the dialogue before us.
And as am I, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. So is this something that the seniors do every year? Is this a standard something, or?
Well,
is it because of the pandemic? You know?
Well, this is set up, this was set up by Philly Youth Vote and the Committee of 70 as an opportunity to educate community members and also get the youth involved. Lots of work has been done to register young voters this year. A lot of hard work by Philly students and by Philly educators. Yeah, so not necessarily every year for Samuel Fels High School. We've had the opportunity to interview several Congress people over the course of the years that I've been teaching 12th grade government. But you are the only one this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we had Dwight Evans come in a couple of years ago, and that was a good time.
Okay, all right.
So to get us started, we had a list together. One of our great students, Briannie Scott, was going to jump in and get us started, but we're actually going to, given the events of last night, one of our students, Alex Calciano, would actually like to open with a question related to last night's incidents, and then we'll kind of roll into the questions that we had on the docket for this afternoon, if that's okay with you.
Okay, no problem. Let me just turn this phone off.
Sure.
So, excuse me. So we won't be interrupted.
No worries. So I'm just gonna introduce Alex. Alex is a 12th grade senior at Samuel Fels High School, as all of the students in this class are, and Alex is a very good student, and they're looking forward to the question and hearing your answers. Go ahead, Alex.
Hi, good afternoon, Congressperson. As said, my name is Alex Calciano.
Good afternoon, Alex. How are you? Hello?
Oh no, did we lose Alex?
Well,
wait, no, I'm so sorry about that. My connection just went a little wonky. Again, as I was saying, given what happened last night in West Philadelphia, the event where I believe his name is Walter Wallace. I don't remember if it's Walter or Walter Wallace. I apologize about that. But given that event, what is your take on what happened, and how are you planning on advocating for that in office?
Actually, I know what happened as a result of news reports. So I don't know the specifics. I don't know the details. I know Mr. Wallace was shot by police officers, and he had a weapon of some sort, but the details leading up to it, I don't know. But what I do know is I think, we send police officers out for any number of things. And I think when sometimes a person may be in emotional or mental trouble, and I think that there needs to be some other sort of outreach. I don't think we always need to send people out with weapons to quell every disturbance. So, but I speak on that in terms of, many incidents, not last night, because I don't know the details of last night. I just know what I heard on the news, and I'm sure I'll be getting other information later on, but I just think that we need to include mental health training or mental health support in situations where there might be a mental disturbance or emotional or something going on besides criminal. That's my take.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Briannie Scott.
Hi, Briannie.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm a senior at Fels. My name is Briannie Scott, and I would like to ask you a question if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Thank you.
How are you planning to use your position to help get more illegal drugs off the streets?
Well, I have been, since I've been in office, and in fact, before I was an elected official, I worked for a state representative, I worked for a congressperson, and so, and I live in a community where we've worked diligently to empower community people to work to kind of take back their community. So what I've done since I've been in office is we've done all sorts of programs for young people, because I don't think that you can start when somebody is an adult or a young, a teenager, start talking to them about drugs and the what they can lead you into. So we worked with schools, we worked with students, we worked with we work with the community, we work with the police. We've tried to educate the community on the nature of what's out there. So basically, and I'll continue to do that. I live in a community where we had drug issues, and so we worked with, I think it's a partnership. I don't think that one person or one organization can do it alone. I think it's a community effort, and I think it's going to take a community. It's going to take the police. It's going to take the community. It's going to take organization to work to stop the drug trafficking, the epidemic. It's going to take more than just one person.
Right. Thank you for that response. Next up is Daniella Sirleaf.
Hello, my name
Hi,
is
Daniela. How are you?
I'm good. So this question kind of stems from the previous question, and
Yes.
Oh, no. Let's see if Daniela pops back on real quick.
hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, sorry. So did you hear my question?
No.
No.
Okay.
You said it stems from the previous question.
Yeah. Your personal motto is let's keep moving forward, and you've helped drug dealers from taking over your neighborhood. But how about other communities? In order to keep moving forward, you would have to expand and aid other crumbling neighborhoods such as K&A.
Well, again, I think So my motto, let's keep moving forward, is I hold the seat. I sit in the seat of a longtime state representative, Dwight Evans. And so sometimes when a person leaves a seat and moves on to other areas, things get stagnant. So my let's keep moving forward is not to let, everything that he done for, I think he was in office for 36 years, not to let that fall by the wayside, but to keep building on the positive things that he's done. So in terms of, so I represent the 203rd legislative district, which is West Oak Lane, East Oak Lane, and the lower Northeast. I, whatever, I am able to do, to promote, to do in terms of helping the drug epidemic is if I can be of service to any other district, and not just the Northwest, but West Philly or any other district, I would use whatever I've learned or whatever I put together to share, because again, this is not just a Northwest issue or a K&A issue or West Philadelphia issue. It's an issue that affects our entire city. So I would use whatever is available to me, whatever I've used to help my community to be of service to other communities. That's what I would do. Just keep it moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and our next question covers the topic of environmental issues here in Philadelphia. And asking this question is Busolami Olayinka-yusuf.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss. I hope you're doing great.
I am wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, my question is, what can and would you do about Philadelphia's current water and land pollution problem? Will you work to provide more public trash cans in our local neighborhoods?
Are you finished the question? Because I see some more.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna continue. There is a large difference in numbers compared to Center City and the wealthier communities in the city. And about the water problem, specifically school drinking water and the lead problem.
I think that's a long-standing problem. Now you talk about the water and the land pollution problem, and you also talk about public trash cans in local neighborhoods. I'm thinking that you think that the public trash cans would help the pollution problems, and I think it's more about educating people, and I think it's a lot about educating people, and I think it's a lot about, again, working with those working with the sanitation department, the streets department, and seeing what specifically we can do. Because I think that some of us, some people take for granted that they can throw trash around or whatever. So I think the more trash cans, trash receptacles might be an answer, but I think it's about educating people that how to use their public, their neighborhoods, how not to cause pollution. I remember when I was growing up, there was these public service announcements on people throwing stuff out of car windows. But I mean, it was an ongoing thing, was an ongoing educational thing. And I think it kind of sensitized people to not do that. And I think we need that kind of process, that kind of educational process to let people know that that's not the thing to do. And we as community members have to be willing to do the same thing, be willing to, take care of, where we live. So I think it's, again, I think a lot of things have to do with community effort and working together and finding out how we can work together to make a difference. And in my situation, in our situation around here, we had a real people were dumping. So what we found out is that when we take pride in our community, then they won't dump. So the areas where they were dumping, we had to keep it clean. We had to where there was graffiti, we had to clean it off right away. So it's a community effort, I think. And I think that engaging with the sanitation department and the departments of streets and in terms of making more trash receptacles available is a good idea.
I understand your answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sticking with the environment, Andy Chen has another question in a similar category.
Hello, Miss.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. My question is, in what ways are you going to use your position as representative to help combat climate change?
I think climate change is a very important issue. It's important, and it's important to you guys because you are, you're kind of like the caretakers of our environment right now. And with all the fires, the fires in California and Colorado and wherever they are, and then the storms, the tornadoes and the hurricanes, and I think we all have to take a position to make climate care a priority. So, as a state rep, I have opportunities to support, and I have supported legislation that, reduce fossil fuels to help auto emissions. I will be on any legislation that promotes a clean environment. And there are, a lot of representatives in Harrisburg who promote that sort of thing. And I'll be part of that whenever possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up is fellow senior Ryan Leang.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon, Ryan.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Got you, Ryan.
How are you?
I'm good. It's really choppy on my end.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's like very laggy. But my question for you was, with the increasing deaths involving gun violence in the city of Philadelphia, what's the best procedure of reducing these possibilities from occurring?
I think the best possibility is making guns unavailable, but right now we have we don't have laws that our gun laws do not make that necessarily possible. We don't have laws that restrict people straw purchasing weapons, and what that is a person can go into a gun shop and purchase as many weapons as they want and sell them on the street. So if we had a policy limiting the number of guns a person could purchase, you know, straw purchases is one of the ways people get guns. And then we talked to police officers, and what we found out was that there are guns that are shipped from, you know, wherever guns are shipped from, and so we have to limit the availability of guns. That's what we have to do. And so I think the police are working on that, and I think we have loads of legislation in the House of Representatives that ask, you know, that do things to reduce the availability of guns. From what I learned is Pennsylvania is a free, you can carry a weapon, a free carry state, except in cities of the first class. So you can't carry a gun openly in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh. But so, you know, the affluence of guns is tremendous. So we have to do whatever we can to make the availability of guns not available. And to that end, I've co-sponsored legislation. I've introduced legislation that addresses that. And so, and I will continue to do whatever I can to make guns not available, not so easily available. And that's what I hope to continue doing that. And that's what I've done so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have Fels Senior Adai St-Hilaire.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my question for you today is, what are your plans for the 203rd district? What bills are you looking forward to sponsor or co-sponsoring for the schools in your district?
Well, my plans for the 203rd district is to continue to work in Harrisburg to bring goods and services to my district and to the city of Philadelphia and to the state of Pennsylvania. What bills? I've introduced bills on a homelessness bill of rights. I've introduced bills on breast cancer. I've introduced bills on welfare, on child welfare. I've introduced on daycare centers. I'm sorry. I've introduced bills on a number of things. And so when I ran for office, my goals were community and economic development, education, women's health, and the environment. And so to that end, I've worked to introduce legislation directed on all those things, and I will continue to do that. So I have 3 bills right now that are in committee, and the bills are on gun safety. One is a gun storage bill. The bill is if you have a weapon, because there were so many children finding guns that were hidden or supposed to be hidden by their parents, and they found them and they've been injured or they injured somebody else. So I wanted a bill to kind of stop that and hold people responsible for safely storing their guns. I've introduced a bill on the wait time for, so you can, there is no wait time for semi-automatic weapons. So you can go to a gun store and ask to purchase a semi-automatic weapon, and you can get it. So I introduced legislation that required a 72-hour wait on semi-automatic weapons. And so my goal for the 203rd legislative district is to continue looking at health and safety issues, continue looking at things that will be helpful to the community, to bring the goods and services that the community needs, and continue to kind of build on the community positively. So that is my hope. That's my hope for the 203rd legislative district. I also represent the state of Pennsylvania. So whatever legislation that I introduce, positive legislation, will affect the state of Pennsylvania. So that's my goal going forward. Keep moving forward. That's my motto, and I'll continue to do that.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question comes from Janaea Edward.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, Ms. Fitzgerald. My name is Shanae. It's very nice to be able to talk to you.
And it's very nice to be able to talk to you.
My question is, as a Democrat, do you support the heavy taxes that Biden will place on the rich? Why?
Well, I think that what Vice President Biden has proposed was a tax on people who made $400,000, I think, annually or more. I think what I think is taxes ought to be equitable. I don't think that a person working 8 hours working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, should be paying more taxes than somebody, than somebody making $400,000 a year. I think equity is where we want the tax structure to be, and I think that's his proposal. So I'm not for just overburdening anybody, but I am for fairness, and I think in many cases it's not fair. I think a person, the minimum wage is $7.25 an hour at this point. Why does a person making $7.25 an hour pay more taxes than somebody making 400,000? I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like we need to do things to make it equitable, make the system equitable, and and taxes are used to promote all kinds of things in our society. So I think equitable is what the goal is. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that answer.
You're welcome.
Next up is Andrea Castro Alepasa.
Good afternoon. I hope you've had a great day so far.
I've had a wonderful day. Thank you.
My question is that there's a pay gap for women and BIPOC. In what ways can you help address or reform that problem?
Pay gap. Well, I think, what is BIPOC?
It's Black Indigenous People of Color.
Okay. So there's a pay gap for, okay, and okay, all right. Again, it's about equity. It's about women being paid for, women and minorities being paid for the same amount as others in our society for doing the same job. So, I'll continue to advocate for the minimum wage being raised. I'll continue to advocate for women being able to earn what they work for. Earn as much money as they should earn for the job that they do, and regardless of their sex. So my position is to continue to advocate for that. My position since I've been in office has been to look at women's issues, to look at issues of minorities, and I'll continue to do that. I think it's about fairness, and it's about equity, and it's about, I've been involved in issues where we've demonstrated for those things. I'm a woman. I'm a single parent, a single mother, and so I've had to struggle, and so I believe that I believe that you deserve, whoever you are, to earn what you are entitled to. That's what I think. So, and I'll continue to address that. I'll continue to address it through legislation. I'll continue to address it through advocacy. I'll continue to address it through whatever means is available to bring awareness to the discrepancies in salaries and what people are paid.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Right. The next question comes from 12th grader Natalie Campbell.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, you? All right, so seeing as though you sponsor Bill 637, an act providing for termination for law enforcement upon testing positive for a controlled substance, what are some other reasons you believe law enforcement officers should be terminated, and what other bills have you sponsored or created based on your beliefs? And do you feel like the law enforcement officers yesterday that were involved in the shooting should be terminated?
Again, yesterday, I don't know the details. I think that if it is found that they unjustly shot that young man, then it's murder, and they should be, they should be tried. They should be tried as such. But I don't know the details, so I don't really want to comment on a lot. But I do think that we recently passed a law in Harrisburg, and the law says that if a lot of times police officers are transferred from one area like Montgomery County to Philadelphia, or they get jobs in other places, and there's no record of they get hired because their background is not searched. So the bill that was passed in Harrisburg says that a police officer, they're going to keep records, and so you can't be hired if you were fired or removed from another jurisdiction for bad behavior. So I believe that everything, all things, every now and then need to be updated. And I think that, there is an opportunity, and there is a need to update how we police. And so I'm not, you know, I think that that is necessary. And so in terms of providing, I think that law enforcement officers, there are some law enforcement officers that do things that might be considered criminal. And I think that if you do something and you're a law enforcement officer and it's against the law, I think that you should be dealt with like anybody else who commits a crime. That's what I think. Now, you know, as far as, and I think that if you commit a crime, then you shouldn't be a police officer. But, you know, termination, you know, has to do with whatever the policies are. And because the policies are what they are, we have to look at the policies and we have to update the policies, because a lot of times I think officers are accused of something, and because of, you know, because of whatever, they're not held responsible. So I just think that we need to look at the policies and we need to update the policies. And they have to be judged accordingly. That's what I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have a question, you know, regarding economics and homelessness. So this question is coming from Linh Cun.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. My question for you is that, are homeless people provide housing or food? And then is there any community support that helps them to find a jobs or place to live in your district? Thank you.
You're welcome. I think actually I have a couple of bills. One is a homeless bill of rights that requires that, you know, homeless people be looked at as people and not as, you know, something that not to be paid attention to. And I think there are organizations that provide homeless people with food, with housing. I think there are veterans organizations. There are, but I don't think, I honestly, I don't think they're enough. And I don't think that the homeless people, the people that need the help, necessarily know how to access the help. So I think that we need to find a better way of outreach to people that are homeless. There are, I know that there are, you know, shelters and that kind of thing, but I also know that there are homeless people who don't want to go into a shelter because they're afraid, because their belongings get stolen and that kind of thing. So I just think that we need to do better in outreaching to, you know, the homeless people. I think that there are some people that are out there that have mental health needs, that have emotional health needs, that have addiction needs. And I think that you can't lump everybody into one basket, if you will. You have to, you know, you have to look at individuals. And I think that there probably needs to be more in the area of social services and human services to address some of the needs, because everybody is not the same, and every homeless person is not the same, and they're different issues. And so I think that you know, we have to look at a lot of things when we talk about homeless. But there are organizations that do provide food. They do provide housing. I know of, you know, some veterans organizations and some other organizations too. I think they had the homeless shelters that were just broken up, and I think that they were able to negotiate housing for some of the people, or for all the people. So there is some work being done. I don't think it's enough, and I don't think that it is. I think that sometimes we lump everything into one package, and I think that we have to figure out how to I guess individualize, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but we have to figure out how to do a better job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have a couple of students that couldn't make it this afternoon. So I'm gonna save their questions for the end in case they're able to pop on, or if not, we can just save them for the end. So next we're gonna move to Prisca Sarpong.
Hi, good
afternoon.
afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine.
So my question is, what was your stand on digital divide prior to virtual learning, and how has the pandemic and home learning changed your views, if at all?
The digital divide, I guess you're talking about some people being able to access the internet, and some people. I think what the pandemic has shown us is that it more than ever, the internet needs to be accessible to everybody, because right now that's where many of your classmates and those who are in public school are getting their education. And if you don't have access, if you don't have access to the internet because it's not available in your area, or you don't have access to the internet because you can't afford a computer, or because you can't afford internet access, I think it's vital that we find a way to make sure that every student at least has access to the internet. And I think what we have learned is that, all kinds of, who expected a pandemic to happen? And for the internet, look at us. We are having a meeting. I mean, who expected us to be on Zoom having a meeting? You know what I'm saying? Being able to meet like this and have a conversation, so it is important. It's important to students. It's important to people who are working from home. And if you might have the ability to work from home, but if you don't have access to the internet and to what the internet provides, then you're going to be in trouble. So I think what this has shown me is how important it is for students, especially, to have access to the internet, to learning, and that there should not be a digital divide. It should be, again, something that's equitable, and something that's available and accessible to everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Keeping along those same lines, speaking of not necessarily the digital divide, but pandemic in general, next up is Munirah Taylor.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman Fitzgerald. I actually switched my question as you already touched on topic previously. Mm-hmm. So I know that one of your committees involves that of emergency preparedness. Mm-hmm. And as we're currently living in a pandemic, and times have been hard, and there's been a recent spike in cases all over, how will you go about preparing citizens and providing resources for a worst case scenario of COVID in Philadelphia, and specifically your district?
Okay, so how will I'm sorry, how will I provide for, I'm sorry, what? I didn't get all your question.
How will you prepare citizens and provide proper resources for a worst case scenario of COVID?
Well, I think, I think the thing is, I don't know if any of us, I guess you hear of epidemics, and you hear of, diseases, Ebola and that sort of thing, but I don't think that any of us were prepared for COVID, and well, any of us uh, average people were prepared for COVID or any other pandemic to cause the effect that it has. I think that what the awareness is now that I think that we have to be prepared. We have to, and how do you prepare for? I think that there are people that have the information. I think that we need to know what the possibilities are, and we need to prepare for the possibilities. And I don't know how you prepare for something that you have no idea what it is. But I think that with all the research being done and all the information on environmental issues, that the possibility of what could happen lends to what you might be able to do to kind of prepare yourself. And I just think with anything, I think that you have to be aware, that you have to I guess you have to be aware. You have to be aware. Now, for the COVID, I think that if we had known from the beginning what we know now, well, if we had known from the beginning that to wear a mask or to wash your hands or to practice social distancing, we would have been maybe in much better shape, but we didn't. But I think that there are, epidemiologists and doctors and that sort of thing who do know. And so I think that we need to be able to listen to them, listen to the experts, and do what they suggest to prepare ourselves. And hopefully, to the extent that what's happening now won't happen again, because we will have had access to people who do know and who can guide us. And that's what I'm hoping will happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question we have is from Shawn Garner.
Hey, how you doing, Representative Fitzgerald?
How are you?
Good. Now, my question is, have the hardships faced in your own life impacted what you wanted to change?
Absolutely. Again, I was a single parent. I had struggle. Actually, I didn't go to college until I was 27. So, it did impact my life. It did. It made it, it made the struggle a little harder, but it made me, I went to a community college. It made me want to support that educational process. It made me, want to do better with utilities, with the gas company and the electric company. It made me want to help people, understand those things. It certainly did impact my life, but it had some, I guess the hardships had some positive effect too. It made me work harder. It made me not want to give up. It made me more sensitive to some of the hardships and some of the struggles single mothers like me and others, single parents, have to go through to deal with stuff on a daily basis. And it made me sensitive to wanting to look at legislation and look at things in the community to make it not so hard. But it did have an impact on things I want to change. It did have an impact on the minimum wage issue. It did have an impact on how much that I worked and I got the same rate of pay as everybody else. It did have an impact on sexual harassment. So it had an impact on a number of things, but it also, taught me a lot of things too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we're gonna bookend with Alex Calciano. She led us off, and she's actually gonna ask our last question of the afternoon as well. Alex.
Hi again, Congressperson. My last question for you is, I'm sorry, one second, my phone went a little funky. What are you focusing to change or revise within your district that you are most passionate about?
What I am most passionate about in my district is basically economic development and safety, if you will. We do an economic empowerment conference every year. And so we believe that the businesses in our district, the businesses support the community and they make the community better, they make the community stronger. So I'm very passionate about making sure, I think a lot of times people don't know that what you're good at is something that you can make a living doing. So, and I want to encourage people to be entrepreneurs, open up businesses, but to do it in such a way that it will be sustainable. So, and also I want a safe community. I want a community where, where people can sit out on their porch, sit out on their step, where people have jobs, so I want, I just want a healthy, safe community. And I am passionate about entrepreneurship. I'm passionate about safety, and I'm passionate about people being able to go to work and do something that enables them to take care of their families.
Thank you. We actually had a student join us a little later, late, and wants to know if she could ask her question before we wrap it up. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
All right. So the final question this afternoon is actually coming from Ms. Tamia Cox.
Good afternoon. So my question is, how do you feel about the police brutality that's going on, and do you think there will ever be a change?
I'm opposed to police brutality. I was opposed to it when I was coming up, when, I'm opposed to it now. I do think that there's going to be a change, because I think that there are many voices out there that are demanding it be a change. I believe that I believe in, again, I think earlier I said, I believe in updating policies and making sure that police officers that are charged and convicted of criminal offenses should be held responsible and accountable for those offenses. I believe that I believe that the police do a tremendous, I mean, we have police officers that we talk to all the time, and they provide a tremendous resource and help, and they protect us. But there are those police officers who are few, but who stand out, and they cause problems. And so I think that there has to be a process for determining how to weed those police officers out so that the good officers don't look bad, and the work that they do for the community and for safety and for whatever they do it for, which is the good of the community, is not overlooked by some of the I was going to say ruthlessness, but that's not what I mean, by some of the bad acts, I guess, that some police officers do. And so I think that we have voices out there. We've been doing, I think there have been voices out there for months, and they haven't stopped. And because they haven't stopped, I think anything that has changed because the community demanded it to change. And so I think that the voices, the people out there who are marching every day, who are marching peacefully, but who are marching to make their voices heard, to make it understood that some of the things that they see are unacceptable. I think those voices will be heard. I think I saw last night on the news that the police commissioner was listening to people, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think the people in command have to listen to the community, and I think that as long as we keep making noise and don't stop and don't accept the negative behavior, that I think it will stop. I think brutality will stop.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, it looks like that's it. We're all done with our questions. It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. And listen, you guys don't ask easy questions, okay? So, and I thank you. Somebody said I have another one.
I do. Okay. It's about you not running against anyone. If it's okay, can I ask it?
Sure.
How do you feel about not having like an opposing side, nobody running against you?
Honestly, I'm okay. I mean, listen, I think in a democracy, the way our system is set up, you have, people that, you have people that have opposing views and that sort of thing. And that's the way it works. But I'm not unhappy that, I try to work, I try to work hard. I try to, do stuff for the community. I try to be wherever it is that I'm needed to be. And I try to do a good job. But, I think that if somebody doesn't run against me, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not upset. And if somebody did, everybody has a right to run. And Natalie, maybe one day you'll run against me.
I hope so. I hope the students that I have that are with us today, some of the brightest students I ever taught. They're incredibly motivated. And they worked really hard researching, the committees you're involved in and some of the bills that you've sponsored to come up with relevant questions for you. So
I appreciate the effort, and I thank you guys. And listen, some of these questions are going to be helpful to me. So I certainly am happy to have been here today. Happy that you picked me to ask the questions, and hopefully, I gave some answers that were helpful to you.
Absolutely. You absolutely did. Thank you. Thank you so much.